What is going on, everybody? This is Xbox Architect here, and this is video 3 of this ranch house build. And in this video, as you just saw, we're going to be doing all the exterior elements. And so without further ado, let's just get right into it. So the first part of this video right now is going to be building out the porch. Now, I think everything looks fine the way it is, but as I said in the previous video, I do a lot of this stuff just kind of off the cuff, just kind of improvised. So what I actually want to do is I want to change around how the front of the house looks a little bit. Now, if you like the way it looks currently, you can feel free to keep it the way it is, and you can skip ahead to the next step. But for my own sake, and if you'd like to follow along, you are more than welcome to. But what we're actually going to do right here is we're going to bring this porch out so that it is a little bit farther than even than this indent right here. So what we're going to start by doing is we're just going to remove all these smooth quartz stairs. And we're also going to remove the decorative roof peak right here too. So we're going to delete all these slabs. And then we're also going to delete this first row of stone brick stairs. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a block of white concrete and we are just going to bring this up to the same level as this white concrete right here. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. The next step that we're going to take is we're just going to delete these first smooth quartz stairs right like that. And now we have something to work with. Now, you might be looking at this going, well, crap, I have to completely rework the roof. And that's not actually necessarily the case. What you're actually going to end up doing is just adding on to it, so you don't have to delete anything and completely rework it. We can just leave this just like it is, and it's okay if there's some blocks underneath the new existing roof that we're going to have. So what we're going to do right now is we are going to bring all of these stone brick stairs that were previously over the entryway, we're going to bring those out so that they're even with the new porch. We're going to do this for both sides. Alright, so now that these are even, what you're going to want to do is you're basically going to do the same thing with the light gray concrete. You are going to just fill in the very front right here so that it's even with the front of the new porch. And then just like we did for these roof peaks over here, we're just going to take smooth quartz stairs and we're going to bring these out one block on both sides. So before we get super complicated with this, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to actually go ahead and start fixing this roof line. We want these to sort of connect with the roof line over the entryway. So what we're going to do, like I said, we're not going to delete anything, but we are just going to add on. So we're going to take that second row right there and we want these to just go up the side like this. We don't want them to curve in and have a little indent. We just want them to meet the porch face on. And then right here, We're just going to connect those, and we're just going to keep doing this. We're going to keep building it up. We're going to do the same thing right over here. All right, so now that you have this sort of connecting to the roof over the porch, we're going to need to actually go ahead and fill in the rest of these open areas right here. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but all we're going to do is we are now going to take the same steps that we were doing in the previous video for the roof, and we are just going to trace the perimeter of this opening, and we're just going to keep bringing it up until it all meets together. Alright, so once you get your roof to the point that you're even with this point right here, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to delete these slabs right here, and you're going to want to replace them with stairs continuing on from that side right there. So we're just going to add these in and make everything meet up the way that it should. Now at this point you can just continue to go around . Now the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're also going to want to delete these slabs right here. So what you're going to do is instead replace them with stairs. And you're only going to fill in the larger square with stairs. As you can see right here, you have a 1 block wide opening, so all we're going to do is we're going to cover that with the stone slabs. And then we can just continue to bring this up until it all meets. And then right at the top, all you're gonna do is you're just gonna place 2 slabs. And now your new roof is completed. Of course, like I said, if you wanted to go ahead and leave it the way it was before, that's completely fine. This is just my own take on what I think might look better. But the next step that you're gonna wanna take is you're gonna bring the smooth quartz stairs 1 level below where the light concrete is, and you're just going to bring it out even with the rest of these smooth quartz stairs. And you're going to do that for both sides. Now before we go ahead and decorate anything, what we're going to want to do is we're going to take this white concrete and we are going to go 1 block underneath the light gray concrete. Now, what we're going to do next is we're actually going to leave this spot right here at the corner of the white concrete bricks open, but we're going to fill in the rest of these upside down with the smooth quartz stairs. And then we're going to take 1 block of smooth quartz and put it right there. Now, like I said, we're going to leave this block on either side open, but you're going to take your smooth quartz slabs and you're going to fill in everything in the middle. And this is because we're actually going to add a pillar going down on both sides. Alright, so at this point what you're going to want to do is you're going to take pillar quartz block and you are going to place it facing the front of the porch so that the circular part of the block is facing outward. And we're just going to do that in those 2 empty spots. And then all you're going to do is you're going to place these blocks facing downwards so that the lines are vertical. and we're going to do that on both sides. Now, what we're going to want to do on the inside of the porch right here is we're just going to want to throw in a quick ceiling. So we're going to do this at the same height as the interior ceiling. So we're going to bring this out 1 block below the light gray concrete, right at the top of the white concrete, and we're just going to fill this in right like this. Now, I'm, again, using the chiseled quartz block for the ceiling, but you're more than welcome to use whichever ceiling material you used on the inside if you used something different. But the next thing that you're going to want to do is right in the middle, 1 block away from the white concrete, you're just going to open it up and you're going to place a light. Alright, so now that we have this part finished, we're just going to want to start adding in the floor for the porch. So we're going to take white concrete, the same material that we used for the walls, and we're just going to place one block away on the outside from the pillar quartz, and we're going to bring it forward 3 and then come in another 2. We're going to do the same thing over here. 1, 2, 3, and then another 2. So there should be 2 blocks of space in front of either pillar quartz, and there should be 3 blocks of space right in the middle. Now, sometimes if I get super complicated with these builds, I like to build like super complicated floors, something that's really decorative, but just for the sake of simplicity, all we're going to use for the flooring material is polished diorite. So we're just going to go ahead and fill all of this in. And then for this 3 block wide opening in the front, all we're going to do is polished diorite stairs. We're going to place those down right like that. And then we're also going to cover the tops of this white concrete with smooth quartz slabs. We're just going to bring those right up just like that. And there you have it. There's your porch. Alright, so now that you have your porch finished, the next step that we're going to take is we're going to start building out the driveway. Now, this is only one section of the driveway because obviously the garage is on the side of the house. We need to connect that somehow in a different step, but this is just going to be the first section. And as you can see, it's just a little turnaround in front of the porch, but what I've done here is I've already traced out this pattern that you're going to want to build. Now, all you're going to do for this is all the spots that you see blue and white blocks, you're just going to delete whatever terrain you are building on, whether it's grass or stone, whatever. But all you need to do is just delete the terrain you're building on in this pattern as you see right here. And you're going to want to do this so that it's centered horizontally with the porch, and you're also going to want it 6 blocks away from the front of the stairs for the porch. So I'll let you pause right now and you can start tracing this out, and then we'll move on from there. Alright, so now you should have something that looks like this. And the next thing that you're going to want to do is very plain and simple. What we're going to use as a driveway material is, again, light gray concrete. And all you're going to do is you're just going to go ahead and delete all of the terrain material that's within these lines, and you are just going to fill in the entire thing with light gray concrete, just like this. You're going to go all the way around, and then we'll move on to the next step after that's finished. Alright, so now you should have something that looks like this, and the next step that we're going to take is we're going to start building a driveway that connects to the garage. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to trace out a plan for you guys to follow, and at that point we'll move on to that step. Alright, so now I have this traced out leading to the garage. As you can see, one thing to note that's really important when you're doing this is the driveway edges are going to be flush with the outside of the house on either side of the garage. So what you can do now is take exactly the same steps as you did for the turnaround in front of the porch. All you're going to do is delete whichever terrain you're building on in this exact pattern that I've traced out in blue and white. I'll let you guys pause, take the time to do that. And then as soon as you have that traced out, you can go ahead and delete all of the terrain material right in between these lines and replace it with the light gray concrete. Alright, so at this point your driveway should look like this. It should be flush with either edge of the garage walls, the material should connect and butt up right against the garage doors, and it should connect to the front turnaround driveway that we made in front of the porch. Now the next step that we're going to take before the driveway is complete is we're just going to take smooth quartz slabs and we're going to trace all the way around the driveway. Just like this. Alright, so at this point your driveway is complete. Now, if you did trace around these front parts right here for the entryways, go ahead and just delete those and leave those open because obviously if this was a real house you would need to access this somehow. But other than that, that's what your driveway should look like. And now the next step that we're going to want to take is we're just going to want to connect the porch right here to the driveway. So all we're going to do is we're just going to remove the 3 blocks that match up with these stairs, and we're just going to connect the smooth quartz, and we're going to delete the terrain right in here. And all we're going to do is we are going to take our, if I can find it here, polished diorite, and we're just going to connect this to the front of the driveway right like that. Alright, so now that we've finished the driveway, we're going to move to the back of the house, and the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start building a patio. Now, what you're going to want to do is you're going to grab blocks of white concrete, and you're just going to come over here and you are just going to start making this 1 block high, even with this corner next to the sliding glass door for the kitchen, and you're just going to bring this out so that you have a 9 block wide patio. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then you're going to come over here, and on this first pillar with the living room windows, you're just going to do the same thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you're going to come 1 block out more. And you're going to come across. And this way it leaves you 9 blocks wide for a patio. So now what you're going to want to do is you're going to come roughly in the middle here. And you're just going to take a step away, make sure that's centered. And you're just going to cut a hole that's 5 blocks wide. Just like that. And then on this side over here, you're going to do the same thing, make sure that it's centered, and you're just going to cut a hole that's 3 blocks wide. And at this point, what you can do is you can take polished diorite stairs, and you can fill in these indents that you just created. And then the rest of this space right here, we're just going to fill in with the polished diorite. Now, as I said before, sometimes I like to get a little bit more complicated with this and make a more decorative type of flooring, patio type of material, but for this case, we're just going to keep it simple, so we're just going to fill this in like this. So now that we have this part built up, the next thing that we're going to want to keep in mind is what else do we want to add to this backyard that we're building. And in this case, I'm thinking that we're going to build a pool and maybe have a fire pit and a little sitting area. So what you're going to do is you're going to take these 5 blocks right here and you're just going to cut out whichever terrain you're building on 2 blocks away from there. And what you're actually going to want to do is you're going to want to leave 1 block of space all around, because in the future we might go ahead and add in some bushes or shrubbery or something. So what we're going to do is we're just going to create a line that's as wide as the upper patio material. And that does not include the white concrete on the outside. We want this to be even with the polished diorite on the inside. So now, at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to start creating a pool. So what you're going to want to keep in mind is you're going to want to have a little area right here that you can have like lounge chairs or something next to the pool. So what we want to do is now come down and make a 5-block wide strip of polished diorite. We're just going to fill this in just for the sake of illustrating. And now we also want to be able to make sure that we have enough space to walk around the pool as well. So what we're going to do is we're just going to mark off 3 wide on either side like this. And what you're going to do is you're going to make the width of the pool now. So I'm thinking that the pool is going to want to be 5 blocks wide, let's say. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then do the same thing over here. And just go ahead and delete that material right in between and do the same thing on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go ahead and delete that material. And you can just go ahead and fill in the polished diorite on both sides. And then on the back side of the pool, we're also going to want to make sure that we have 3 blocks wide. So let's just go ahead and cut a line in our terrain right like this. And then trace out a 3-block wide portion. And at this point, we can just go ahead and fill that in with diorite as well. And then if you left this space unfinished just like I did, go ahead and delete the terrain material and just go ahead and fill in with diorite just like the rest of this is. Alright, so now that you've filled all that in, you are now left with an opening right here of just terrain material where your pool is going to be. So what you're going to want to do now is you're going to want to just take away all of the material in here, but you're going to want to go 2 blocks down. So then go ahead and take away the second layer. And this pool, I think what we're going to do is we're going to have it be a couple of different depths, as, you know, a normal pool would be. So what we're going to do is, because this is 9 blocks wide, we're going to leave 4 blocks to be the shallow end over here, and we're going to make the deeper end 5 blocks. So we're actually going to go down 1 more level. Of course, if you're building in super flat, you are going to run into bedrock. But we're just going to bring this down, and we're going to have a 5x5 opening right here for the deep end. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take blue glazed terracotta, and we're going to go every other, and we're going to start creating a checkerboard pattern. So you're always going to want to have 1 block of space in between. And then once you reach the next depth, you're going to do the same thing just like that. And then we're going to turn 90 degrees, and we're only going to fill in these spots just like this. And then you're going to turn another 90 degrees, and you're going to do the same thing. And finally, you know the drill, turn another 90 degrees and fill in the rest of these open spots. And this is going to create kind of a cool pattern. If you think about what an actual pool is going to look like, it's going to have some sort of pattern on the bottom. And of course, this isn't exactly matching, but for simplicity's sake, This is basically what you're going to want to do. And then you're obviously going to be left with this extra layer of dirt. So what you're going to do is you're just going to delete all of those and you're going to replace those with the terracotta blocks. Now at this point, a lot of pools also have lights too. So what we're going to do is we're just going to mark out where we want these. And in this case, we're going to want them center in the deep end, just like that. So what we're going to do is we're also going to take the terracotta again, and we're going to fill in the bottom portion of that hole. And then there's another layer of dirt behind there. What you're going to want to use is a sea lantern, and you're just going to delete that and replace just like this. And then at this point, you can use white stained glass to cover that. Now, one thing that is important to note when you're filling in this pool, you can't just start putting in water just like that, because the different levels are going to make the water not level on the top, I guess you could say. So what you're going to want to do is you can take any block. In this case, I'm just going to use white concrete, and you're actually going to fill in this deep section just like this. And at this point, what you can do is you can go in and you can find a bucket of water and start filling in this hole. Now that you have your water in, what you can do now is you can just take away all of the white concrete or whichever block you chose to fill the deep end with. And there you have it. There's a very simple, easy to make pool. And now let's move on to the next step. Alright, so now that we're finished with our pool, what we can do is we can actually create a walkway that connects with the driveway. So what you're going to want to do is we're going to make this 3 blocks wide. We're going to continue using the polished diorite. You're going to come around and you're just going to start deleting some of this material. Once again, leave enough space so that you can put some sort of plant or shrubbery next to the higher level patio. And we're going to connect this with these 3 block wide stairs over here. And now what you can do is you can just fill in this space. And we don't need to get super crazy with curvature or anything for this walkway in particular, but all we're going to do is we're just going to take away 2 blocks from where we started the stone quartz slabs, and not stone quartz, smooth quartz slabs, pardon me. We're going to make this 1 block away from where the exterior wall of the garage is, and we're just going to cut a 3 block wide opening, and we're going to place in these diorite blocks. So then we'll come back over here and we'll just cut away until these meet. And then you can remove all of the terrain material in the center. And go ahead and fill in with the polished diorite. And then we'll go ahead and move on to the next step. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a fire pit ring. And I did exactly the same thing as I did for the driveway for you guys. All you have to do is take all the spots that have the blue and white tracings and just cut out all of your terrain material. And then when you're finished with that, go ahead and delete all the terrain material in between. And what we're going to do is we're going to fill that in with gravel. Alright, so once you have this all filled in with gravel, you have your shape traced, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to come right in the center. And what we're going to do is we're going to place nether brick slabs. And we can just go ahead and start filling in just like this. And you can come out and you can kind of see where the center point is. In this case, because we have this curvature leading to this walkway, what you're going to want to reference is these sides of the circle right here, the points that have 5 blocks wide. This will tell you want to have 3 right in the center of those. And then you're just going to pop a hole right in the middle, and all you're going to do is replace the gravel in there with netherrack. Now once you have this done, you can take flint and steel or a fire charge, whichever you want to use to ignite this, and you're just going to start that on fire. And then at this point, we need to have some seats around here. So what we're going to do is we're going to move 1 block away from the nether brick slabs, and we're just going to place 2 smooth quartz stairs just like that, and we're going to do the same thing all the way around. Now, if you wanted to make these seats a little farther away, feel free to go ahead and do that. This is just where I'm putting them for placement's sake, but obviously you are more than welcome to use whichever orientation you'd like to use. But yeah, that's the fire pit, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so this next step might be a little bit unconventional. You're going to be looking around and you're going to think to yourself, well, what the heck, dude? There's a whole bunch of stuff here that we haven't even touched on yet. And that's true, and that is my fault. I apologize. I filmed the entire exterior portion of this house, and then after the fact realized that I had lost this one clip for this particular step. So what I've done is I've deleted a lot of the stuff that I've put in right here in hopes to be able to explain what you need to do so that you can move on and continue building with me in the next clips, which will cover everything else that you see that you haven't done yet. So essentially what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cut a 3-block wide hole in the white concrete for the raised up portion of the patio, and you're going to make this 3 blocks away from the house, and that's going to be the same distance away from the house as the stairs across. So you're going to place polished diorite stairs in that little nook that you cut out, and then place 3 polished diorite blocks in front of that, and that's going to leave 1 block of space alongside the white concrete for the raised up portion of the patio, because as you can see here in future clips, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting in some bushes. So once you have that complete, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start carving out this hole, and you're going to make it even with this corner of the living room wall, and you're going to bring this out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 blocks away from the house, and you're just going to connect this with the pool area, so you should have a 3-block wide walkway at the end of this and still leave enough space to put in a bush next to the raised up portion of the patio. And once you have that done, all you need to do is just fill it with polished diorite like you see here. So I can just raise this up, and if you need to pause to be able to fill this out, by all means go ahead. Once again, that's my mistake. I have no idea where that clip went, but everything else that you see is going to be covered shortly. So keep following along, and let's move on with this next step. Alright, so now that we have this area filled in, what we're going to do next is we're just going to go ahead and place some couches, outdoor furniture, things of that nature. So what we're going to do, we're going to leave 1 block of space in between the wall of the house and where I'm going to place this first couch, but we're going to go 2 blocks over from the edge of where the polished diorite starts, and we're going to place light gray wool, and then we're going to leave 2 spots open in between and place another one just like that. And at this point, go ahead and fill in the entire back side, and then for the cushions, you're going to use smooth stone slabs. And then we're going to move over. If you're looking in this orientation, we'll move backwards 1 block, and we're going to place another light gray wool block right like that. And this time we're going to leave 3 open spaces in between, place another one, fill in the back, and then fill in for the cushions. And then we're gonna do exactly the same thing as the first couch over here. So we're gonna create a 4-block wide couch, leave the 2 spaces in between, insert your cushions, and fill in the back. And at this point, we also want to add a coffee table type of thing too. So what we're going to do is just use dark oak slab, and we are going to, whoops, didn't mean to delete that. We are just going to place a 2x3 coffee table just like that. So it's going to be 2 blocks away from either of these side couches and 1 block away from this longer back couch, and then that's your little sitting area. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back and take a look at the raised up portion of the patio that connects to the house, and what we're going to do is we're going to create an outdoor dining table. So to start this, we're going to use smooth quartz stairs as the seats, and we're just going to center ourselves on these side stairs going down to the sitting area, and we're going to place 1 block 3 blocks away from where the stairs start so that you have 2 blocks of walking space behind, and you want to angle these stairs inward. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to place 2 more. You're going to have 1 block of space in between and 1 block of space in the corner right here. You're going to do the same thing for the other side and for the last edge, just like this. And you should have a seating arrangement that looks like this. You should have 2 blocks of walking space on any end. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to create this table, and we're going to use dark oak slabs, and we're just going to place 2 blocks down just like that. We're going to raise those up, and we're going to make them blocks. And now we're going to place 1 slab on the upper level in between these, and then at that same height we're just going to follow the perimeter just like this. Now, we also want to be able to create an umbrella too, and in this case I'm going to be using smooth red sandstone. You can choose whichever type of slab you want depending on which color you want the umbrella to be made out of, but I'm just making it out of this because it's the first thing that I grabbed. But what we're going to do is we're going to create the umbrella post. We're going to use nether brick fence, and we're going to place one right in the center of this table, and we're going to raise it up 3 blocks high. Just like that. And then once you have that, what you can do is you can just place one of these slabs, whichever material you choose to make your umbrella out of, and you're just going to create a 3x3 slab on top of that post, just like this, and then just place 1 more right in the center. And that kind of gives a little bit of a visual for, you know, the umbrella kind of angles down and such. But yeah, there's your outdoor dining table. Next step, what we're going to do is create a grill. So to start with making this grill, what you're going to need is 4 blocks long of space. It doesn't need to be any bit wider than that, but 4 blocks long. We're just going to build up against this wall right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to place 2 blocks of black concrete, leaving 1 block of space before this white concrete wall. And then we're going to take iron bars, and we're going to place 1 on either side. Next step that you're going to want to take is you're going to put 2 iron trap doors, 1 on each of the blocks of black concrete, and then right above this iron bar on both sides, you're just going to place a block of light gray carpet. And then for the front of the grill, all you need to do is place an item frame on either side, and there you have it. It's just super simple, nothing too complicated, but it's just a nice feature to add just to make things a little bit more realistic. So now that we have all of our spaces determined, what we can do now is we can add in a hot tub next to the pool, and we're going to do this in the corner that's right by the sitting area. So what we're going to grab is the pillar quartz block, and we're just going to place 1 right in the corner near that walkway, and then you're going to space out 3 blocks in between and do the same thing all around, just like that. And at this point, instead of using a quartz slab, what we're going to use is a smooth quartz slab. I grabbed the wrong one by accident, but we are just going to take the smooth quartz slabs and we're going to go in between all of these pillar quartz blocks just like this. And then in the center, we're going to do something very similar to the pool. So you're just going to go ahead and remove all of the terrain material, and you're going to go 2 blocks down. And then what you can do is go in and grab your blue glazed terracotta, same material that you used for the pool. And you can just go ahead and place 1 block apart just like this, and then turn 90 degrees and place those. And then turn another 90, place in the center, and then another 90, and fill in the other 2. And then the dirt that's remaining on the edges, go ahead and fill that in with the terracotta, just like we did with the pool. And then because this isn't multi-leveled, we can just go ahead and fill in the water without having to worry about filling anything else in to make it even. Now at this point, what we're going to want to do is take the pillar quartz block and we're going to raise this up to be 4 blocks high. And then we'll take the smooth quartz slab and we'll just go around the top edge just like this and fill in all the spaces in between the tops of these pillar quartz blocks. Now what we can do is we can go ahead and build out another layer, just like this. And then we're actually going to make the ceiling out of stone brick slabs. So just go ahead and place those down. And then just add another block in between. We can go ahead and delete that later, but we're going to want to raise that up just like this. And then place one in the center. And then we can come underneath and we can just fill this in the rest of the way just to make sure that it's all even. And then the next thing that we can do is we can come in here and we can take a torch. Let's go ahead and put a torch on these interior corners of these pillar quartz blocks. And now you have a nice little hot tub next to the pool, next to the sitting area. And then the next thing that we're going to want to do is the shrubbery. Now, for these bushes, shrubbery, whatever you want to call it, we are going to have some in the front, but we'll start in the back because we're already here anyway. What we're going to want to do is we're going to take smooth quartz stairs and we're going to place one on either side of the stairs that lead down from the higher level patio. We're going to do this all around. And then very plain and simple, all you're going to do is place oak leaves in the remaining spaces that we left open when we were building the pathways. And then over here, you can continue if you want to. I guess it's all just personal preference, but I'm going to stop mine even with this corner. And then if you wanted to, you can add more along the house. Again, really, it's all just kind of personal preference, but for instance, I can put one there. I can put another one here. But let's go to the front. And what we're going to do, we're going to place bushes on either side of the pathway that leads from the driveway to the porch, just like this. And then we're also going to come over here under these windows and we're going to place a 3-block wide bush right under the center post in between the windows. We're going to do the same thing on this side. And we're also going to do the same thing over here in front of these windows. If you wanted to, you can also do the same thing over here, but that's not completely necessary. I will just for the sake of showing it. And really the same thing over here. Again, it's all just personal preference. Depending on what you like, that's really all that's important. And at that point, let's move back to the backyard. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to create some fences around the pool. So what you're going to need for this is just plain and simple. You're going to want a smooth quartz block, and you're also going to want to grab black stained glass panes, so the same thing that we used for the windows. And what we're going to do, we're going to just place one in the corner on the outside of the pool. We're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to place another one in this corner by this walkway. We're going to come to the outside edge of the sitting area, place another one. And then we'll place another one right on the outside of this wall for the living room. And then what we can do is we can go ahead and we can fill in the spaces in between here with the smooth quartz block. And we're going to do this in all of these edges. And then at this point, what you can do is right over where you just placed all that smooth quartz, just go ahead and put the glass panes. And then on the top of these blocks, what we're going to do is just place one torch, just like this. And then the last step that we're going to take with this patio area in the back is we're just going to go ahead and we're going to place smooth quartz slabs right over the top of the white concrete around the edges. And then we can take a torch and we can put a torch on either side of the sliding glass door. And then we're also going to put torches next to the garage doors too. So right at this top level right here, place torches in between and on the outside edges of those garage doors, and it should look like that. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing over here for the porch too. We're just going to put one light right above that doorway. Now, if you wanted to get a little bit extra, a little bit fancier with the bushes in the front, what you could do is go ahead and place smooth quartz stairs next to the bushes on either side, just like this. Or if you wanted to leave them plain and open, that is perfectly fine as well. It's all just up to personal preference. Whatever you think looks good is what works. But for the sake of representation, I'm just going to go ahead and throw these in. Now we're going to need to take one final step to get the exterior of this house done, and that's going to be putting in trees. So now that we're ready to throw in some trees, one thing that you're really going to want to keep in mind, especially with this particular building scale that I'm using, is you're going to want to use a slightly taller tree just to be able to get everything to sort of look more proportional. Otherwise, if you add a lot of smaller trees, they might not look as realistic as you intend them to. So one thing that I typically like to use for trees on a property of a house that has this particular building scale is the jungle tree, because it grows a lot taller. So what we're going to do is we're just going to place a couple on the outside edges of the driveway and roughly make them about 3-ish blocks away from the driveway. And we can just go ahead and place a couple all around just like that. You don't have to get super close to the house. Just those 3 are probably fine. And then we're going to come in. We're going to do the same thing over here. And they don't have to be spaced perfectly either. You don't have to worry about counting everything exactly unless you really wanted to. And we can just go ahead and stop those right in the middle of that curve on the outside of the driveway. And so the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to bone meal these trees. And you're going to want to see the different heights of these trees, because if one is a little bit shorter than the other, you don't like the height, you want to replant it and do something different, you can go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and see how these turn out. That looks fine. That's pretty okay. And that looks pretty good too. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing with these over here. Those look pretty good. That's even better. That's all right. I guess I can leave it. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Normally I don't actually get this lucky. I'm kind of surprised. But then you have one like this, and that looks a little short in my opinion. So when you run into that, pretty much the only thing that I do is I just kind of suck it up and get rid of the tree. And you don't necessarily have to get rid of all the leaves right away. They will disappear on their own. But in this case, what we're going to do is we're just going to take away this tree. We're going to try and replant it and get something a little bit taller. Well, it looks like it doesn't want to get super tall, but that's a little bit better than the last that one was there. And we'll do the same thing with this one. Just bring another one right there. And that looks a little bit better. They're not perfect, but nothing ever is, right? So now we have those trees planted. What we can do is we can come around the back side of the house and we can figure out what we want to do next. So I think around the fire pit, this should have some spruce trees. So all we're going to do is roughly about the same distance away from the driveway, 2 to 3 blocks. We're just going to go ahead, place a few of these down, and we'll just see how it turns out. Trees are very, very trial and error. There's no guarantee that it's going to be exactly right the way you want it to be, which can get a little bit frustrating after a while, but you kind of just have to work with it. So in this case, I really didn't expect this tree to become that big. So if you wanted to be able to uncover the spots that are covering your fire pit ring, you can go ahead and just delete some of these leaves. It really doesn't matter that much. But the rest of these look pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And then let's just throw a couple of birch trees behind the pool. They don't have to be super close together. We just want a little bit of extra coverage. And we'll do the same thing over here. sitting area. And that should be good. You don't want to get too close to the house. And I think that looks pretty good. So really at this point, the rest of these spaces are very much up for interpretation as to how you want to fill them in. In this case, maybe for the rest of this, I'll just throw in a couple of oak trees. Maybe we'll put one there. We'll throw another one out here. Maybe another one right here. And really just kind of fill in the rest of the blank spaces. It doesn't need to be perfect. Like I said, you can add whatever tree you want. This is just what I'm doing for the sake of visualizing it. And then let's just put another oak tree right here in this open area. Sometimes you can get really lucky and you can get the ultra mega oak trees, but oftentimes I'm really not that lucky. But these three trees right here are exactly what I was saying about they're a lot smaller. They don't look quite as scaled up as they should, but I'm just going to leave them in there for now just because I, quite frankly, don't really feel like taking them down. But yeah, let's just go ahead and do one more thing for the driveway here. What we're going to need to do is grab some smooth quartz block, and we're just going to create some pillars at the end of this driveway. So we're just going to raise this up to be 2 blocks high with the smooth quartz block. We're going to do the same thing over on the other side. Then let's just go ahead and throw a torch on the front of all of these posts. Alright, so the final step we're going to take right now, right before we wrap this video up, is we're just going to go ahead and create a couple of lounge chairs next to the pool. So what we're going to do is just 1 block away from the edge, we're going to place 1 smooth quartz stair. We're going to do the same thing over here. And we're just going to place 2 in between so that there's 1 block of space in between all those. And plain and simple, just place a smooth quartz slab right at the front of these. And there you have it. At this point, we now have a completed exterior of this house. So if you like this tutorial, if you like my suggestions, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you have any suggestions for me, go ahead and leave a comment. As always, go ahead and subscribe, recommend to a friend who likes to build. And with that, let's go ahead and take a look at everything that we've done.